O outro co-presidente deste evento é John Volmink, que nos tem acompanhado nos últimos 10 anos na consolidação e internacionalização do projeto da Academia Ubuntu. John Volmink é o presidente da Ubuntu Global Network, iniciou a sua carreira académica na Universidade de Western Cape Town e concluiu o seu doutoramento em Educação Matemática na Cornell University, nos Estados Unidos. É o presidente do MIET África e continua a liderar conselhos de várias organizações não governamentais para o desenvolvimento de áreas como a educação, a saúde e o desenvolvimento. John, hello. It is a great joy that we once again share in international meeting to talk about peace and building bridges. Today we celebrate Mandela, who is just an important reference at Ubuntu Leaders Academy. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Thank you, Rui. It's a great pleasure working with you. I also want to say it's a great honor for me to co-chair this day with the great President Horta. I must acknowledge that I'm a great fan of him, and so is some of my children. Your legacy is an amazing one. Thank you. I just want to say thank you to all for joining us today as we reflect and draw strength from the legacy of Nelson Mandela. This occasion is made all the more important by the great uncertainties that we face at this present moment in history. I was in my early years of high school when Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment on Robben Island following the Rivonia trial in 1964. And with so many others, my quest to understand the significance of this unjust act was severely stifled by the veil of secrecy drawn by the draconian apartheid government of the time. And the only misinformation that they allowed to leak out was the false narrative that Nelson Mandela and those who were sentenced with him were all radicals bent on destroying the country. And this culture of silence was cruelly enforced through an obedience ethic that made it very difficult to question or to grasp the significance of the role that Madiba played. It is the case that nothing that Madiba said or wrote while was allowed to be quoted during his time in prison. In fact, it was only in February 1985 at a rally in Soweto arranged by the United Democratic Front to celebrate the occasion of Archbishop Tutu's receipt of the Nobel Peace Prize that we heard the late Zinzi Mandela, who sadly passed away this week. We heard her read a powerful message from her father, rejecting the offer of the then President P.W. Botha to release him if he would accept a range of unjust conditions. Fortunately for me, while I was at high school, I had teachers who surreptitiously passed on information to some of us about what was truly happening. They helped me to gain a deeper understanding of what the struggle was all about and the important role that Nelson Mandela was playing in making the distant dream of a democracy a reality. Needless to say, some of these teachers were arrested on more than one occasion, and we were left without teachers. They were detained without trial under the 90-day detention or 180-day detention laws, no trial. But their courage to stand by the truth at great cost to themselves was a gift to me and my generation. It was only in 1990 when Nelson Mandela walked out of prison on his own terms did I complete my understanding, my own understanding of who this incredible man really was. He stepped out of prison into a deeply divided society filled with conflict and hate and injustice, and he immediately began to lay the foundation of a bridge of healing from a broken past to a new dynamic future. Nelson Mandela later said, "As I walked out of the door towards the gate of the prison that would lead me to my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I would still be in prison." So it is no surprise that against expectations and despite all the hardship and the pain and adversity he and his family experienced during his years in prison, Nelson Mandela convinced us that we cannot overcome hate through hate, but by empathy. And he believed, and I quote, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposites." Nelson Mandela swept away the conventional signposts, which were leading us only to greater injustice and pain, and gave us new hope of a future country that belongs to all its people. We have a long way to go in this country to reach that future, but in the spirit of Ubuntu, Nelson Mandela said, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." Nelson Mandela gave the whole world hope in a dream that seemed so unattainable, namely that we can overcome our prejudices and hate and embrace the power found in one community, one country, and indeed in one global human family. That is a vision we need to grasp now, more than ever, as we face the chronic challenges borne by the deep injustices, such as poverty and hunger, as well as the acute threat, a global pandemic that calls us to urgent and united action. So, as I close, today, we are joined by more than 1,200 people who have been drawn together because we share a common dream. And we realize that we can only empower our dream by working in partnership with each other. We are privileged and honored to have with us today some of the most distinguished minds and brilliant minds and exemplary leaders in the world. And I really am honored to be here at this occasion when they are joining us. So on behalf of the Ubuntu Global Network, I would like to welcome you and thank you for walking the long road to freedom with us. Thank you.
father says, I cannot and will not give any undertaking at a time when I and you, the people, are not free. Your freedom and mine cannot be separated. I will return. Amanda!
A letter that he wrote to me that I obviously didn't get, where he was analyzing my poetry and so on. It was very touching, it was quite emotional. It is like some kind of personal comfort that at least the world recognizes the sacrifices that he's made, that he wasn't able to father us for many years, that when he was incarcerated, he suffered many losses whilst in prison, personal losses, but he still came out to be a man of peace and reconciliation. I'm glad that that is being documented and shared and that people continue to celebrate his life. I think it's very important for us to try to help implement his vision for South Africa, for South African children, for the youth in general, for the world, for everybody to realize, like now I think that the saying is like, it's in your hands. That's what the legacy institutions are saying. That's what he has said, I'm handing over. I think it's so important, for us just to, let go, let him be. I would do it all again. I can't imagine, that's all I've known. Everything else is just a fantasy. And what I've learned from this is to define myself not according to what I've suffered, the anguish and so on, but according to how I've survived that. And I think it's an important lesson, especially as in my capacity as a mother, as a grandmother. It's very important for me to be able to demonstrate that type of resilience and ability to see, to have a more holistic approach to life for the sake of my children, especially during difficult times.
I would like to express our condolences to the Mandela family. Having lost Zinzi, the Mandela daughter, on Monday. This was on the same day that in 1969, Mandela lost his son, Thembekile, in a car accident. And his anguish of not being allowed to attend the funeral, he was not allowed to come out of prison. Today, we will hear from the grandson, Ndaba Thembekile Mandela. He was born in 1982, and today he's an author and a mentor, a spokesperson, an entrepreneur, a political consultant, and the grandson of Nelson. He was born in Soweto in South Africa. Ndaba currently is the co-founder and chairperson of the Mandela Institute for Humanity. He's actively keeping the legacy of his grandfather alive and introducing Nelson Mandela to the younger generation. And he has many other roles. I want to say that he, for good reasons, couldn't join us live today because of the grief in the family. But he did send us a video message. which we will now see.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my favorites, the youth all around the world who are tuning in today. It is an honor for me to come and greet you on this special day known as Nelson Mandela International Day, 18 July, a day in which one of the greatest leaders of this world was born. And so we celebrate this day by remembering why he was that special leader, because he was the man that dedicated 67 years of his life to public service. So in turn, on this day, we dedicate 67 minutes of our day to doing community service, doing something for those who are less fortunate than ourselves. Maybe it's an orphanage, maybe it's an old age home, maybe it's a school that doesn't have the resources they need. Ladies and gentlemen, we can all do our part. Here in 2020, we ask ourselves, how is Nelson Mandela's leadership relevant? We say it is relevant because Nelson Mandela taught us that each of us needs to be a leader in today's world. We can no longer wait for other people to lead the way. COVID-19 has shown the cracks of the system. The presidents don't have the answers. The ministers, the professors, they don't have the answers, ladies and gentlemen. I believe each and every single one of us that was born here on earth today was born for a special reason, for a purpose. And it is up to us to find that as we grow, as we experience, as we communicate, as we grow our networks, ladies and gentlemen. Let us not let COVID take away our humanity. Our humanity always comes first, especially during these trying times, ladies and gentlemen. I thank all the organizers of this beautiful conference. I wish that we can create more networks and grow together. Again, patrulleros, I want to say thank you for this great partnership, and I know that we're going to build beyond and beyond as we grow together. And I look forward to coming back to Portugal in 2021. Hopefully, humanity is back intact after the COVID. I hope to see each and every single one of you that are tuned in today after COVID. On this day of Mandela Day, we say we love you. Auntie Zinzi was my auntie, my mother. There was no woman who had more love than that. And so what I wish for the world is more love, because that's what Auntie Zinzi showed me, was more love, and that's what Tamadiba is about.